How's it going, everyone? I'm Keegs, and if you ever really wanted to learn about the Star Wars High Republic, then there's no better place to start than with the book Light of the Jedi, which is basically a book that sets up the premise of the world, and it takes place a few hundred years before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So this is just really an introductory into the world of the High Republic and kind of the state of the galaxy at that time. Now, there are some main characters in this book, but it is mostly just here to set up the world, so I'm just going to hit all of the big highlights here to give a good foundation to you of the High Republic. It starts out when a transport ship known as the Legacy Run hits something in the hyperspace path, which is just absolutely crazy since nothing theoretically should be able to exist in the hyperspace lanes, but nonetheless, there is something there and the ship crashes into it, killing almost everyone on board and sending debris intermittently throughout the entire Hetzal star system. This crashes into planets and kills millions of people. Every time part of the Legacy Run comes out of hyperspace to go kill some innocent people on some planet, they call them emergences, and they don't really know when or where these are going to happen, so it creates a giant crisis among the galaxy. But Jedi Master Loden Greatstorm and his Padawan Bel Zettifar arrive on the Hetzal Prime world to try and assist in evacuating people from the planet. A few other Jedi try to start tracking down and destroying all of the falling debris when Padawan Burryaga, which is a Wookiee Padawan, actually senses that there are some living people aboard those pieces of debris, so now they've actually got a rescue mission, which makes it a million times harder because they can't just blast the debris out of space. Jedi Master Avar Kriss is one of the renowned Jedi of the High Republic and is probably in line to sit on the Jedi Council, and honestly a lot of the High Republic stories are probably going to follow around her in the future. But she senses some liquid Tabana heading for the star of that system and knows that if it gets there, the sun will double in size and kill everyone in the system because that material is just so volatile. So she ends up getting a ton of Jedi involved to throw it off course by using the Force, and I even think one Jedi dies of exhaustion trying to push it away, but ultimately they are successful in pushing that piece of debris away from the star. Chancellor Lina Soh, who is also vital to the Republic at this time, and she is really the one forging all of the Republic together to make it one unified force, but she holds a meeting later to discuss what to do about the rest of the debris that is starting to appear in different systems, and she decides to actually close all of the hyperspace lanes, which in turn will starve the Outer Rim if it goes on long enough because those people aren't going to have proper access to the food supply channels, and as you can guess, people are not very happy about it. The Chancellor wants to figure out what the root of the problem was before the new Starlight Beacon has its opening ceremony. Starlight Beacon is this new super massive station to help the Republic extend its reach and send signals out to very far reaches of space. This is one of the pieces of technology that actually really sets up the Republic and helps bind it and forge it as one strong system of government. A technician suggests that if they use enough Navi computers, they may be able to predict where the next emergences will happen, so Avar and Jedi Knight Elzar Mann decide to help with that. Meanwhile, a celebration is being held by the Nihil, which is actually a group of marauders and raiders, and they are kind of the central antagonists to this entire era of the High Republic. The structure of this organization is that you have 3 Tempest Runner leaders, then you have each of them that have their own storm, each of those storms that have their own clouds, and each of those clouds that have their own strikes at the bottom. On top of that pyramid, sitting kind of adjacent to the Tempest Runners though, is the Eye, and this is a man named Marchion Ro, who doesn't have any people below him, but he provides what's known as the paths to them, which allow their ships to slip in and out of hyperspace to pull off jobs and then quickly get away. This makes them extremely deadly as marauders and raiders because no one can really catch them because they can just pop in and out of hyperspace whenever they want. Loden Greatstorm and Bel Zettifar are back at their outpost and eating with Porter Angle, who used to be a fierce Jedi Master known as the Blade of Bardota. But now he's a cook at the outpost when this distress signal comes in from a nearby family that is being attacked by the Nihil, so they take off to go help. Avar and Elzar visit the Santeca family on Naboo, which you might know that clan name from lore Santeca. The Santecas are a vital part of the Star Wars lore, and you might know Lor Santeca from the Shadow of the Sith novel. He was also in the beginning of Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Lor Santeca also helped out Luke Skywalker and was kind of considered a dear friend to Luke. But the Santekas were a prospecting family, and they end up supplying the Republic with a bunch of Navi computers for their equipment. At one point, Avar asks how it could be possible to hit something in hyperspace, and the family, clearly lying, says it's impossible, but after the Jedi leave, they talk about how they do know one person that could make that happen, but like, there's no way she's still alive, right? Nope. Mari Santeka is alive, and she's actually being kept alive by a medical tank inside of Marchion Ro's chambers. She is super old and being kept alive and constantly drugged and tortured to provide the paths to Marchion Ro and really keep him in power as someone that can supply these paths to the rest of the Nihil. Marchion finds out that Mari can predict the emergences, so he gives that information to the Nihil to extort some planets, of which one of these 3 Tempest Runners named Kassav fails miserably and doesn't give them the information in time, and a bunch of people end up dying. So the planet is really pissed off and they are now coming for blood. The Navi computers are overheating trying to predict the emergence locations, and Elzar ends up using the Force with Avar to literally call a storm to rain over all of the Navi computers to cool them down, and they are able to start predicting where the emergences will come out of hyperspace. The Jedi Council is deciding whether they should get involved since they aren't really a military force, but Jedi Master Jora Mali has the deciding vote and votes to help. Marchion tells Kassav that he has a plan to fix everything, and essentially sends him on a suicide mission. He basically just ends up sacrificing him, and in the battle though, they are actually able to take out Jedi Master Jora Mali. This battle pretty much tells the Republic though how the hyperspace lanes were able to be compromised, and they are feeling a lot more relieved though since they were able to destroy Kassav's storm, and they kind of assume that that is the majority of the Nihil forces. Loden and Bell try to save the family, but Loden ends up getting captured and then brought to Marchion Ro as a prisoner. The Republic opens Starlight Beacon to celebrate, and they think they've pretty much beaten the Nihil because they took out Kassav and his storm, but what they don't realize is this was actually all part of Marchion Ro's plan to consolidate his power and force himself into power above the other Tempest Runners. He has a plan to transform the Nihil into something greater and take on the Republic and the Jedi, getting rid of all of these little factions and really unifying the Nihil under one cohesive banner. Elzar Mann gets promoted to a master, but then has some pretty bad visions of evil sweeping the galaxy. That's pretty much the cliff notes of this book though, and introduces really the main players, which really number 1 up there is Avar Kriss, who is now the Marshal of Starlight Beacon, and you also have Elzar Mann, who is now a master. You've got Marchion Ro, who is the main antagonist, and you've got Loden Greatstorm, who was captured, and now he is going to, unfortunately, probably be giving a little information over to the Nihil through, you know, some nefarious means and such. You also have his Padawan as well, Bel Zettifar. I hope that helps give you a foundation for the High Republic and kind of what's going on at the time and who the main players are. But I'm Keeks, and I will catch you all next time for some more High Republic content.